My presentation is going to be over Perseus, the constellation. The first slide is going to be finding Perseus. In this slide, we're looking at early December and 9 p.m. So Perseus is thought to resemble the Greek hero Perseus, raising the sword above his head with one hand and holding Medusa's head in the other hand. So Perseus is located near Cassiopeia, which is one of the most visible formations in the sky. We can locate that by looking to the north, where the star formation forms a bright W or M here. So when we find that, we can look to the right below it, which is on the left part of the zigzag, to our star formation for Perseus. And what we'll look for is the two brightest stars. Those are going to be Algol and Murphak. So those two stars are kind of like the middle part of the constellation to help identify that constellation here. So Perseus is most prominent in the northern sky of the northern hemisphere in the spring. It's also visible in the northern part of the southern hemisphere. So next we're going to be looking at Perseus' four brightest stars. We're going to be starting with Murphak, which is the brightest star in Perseus constellations and one of the brightest stars in the sky. So this is a supergiant star, and it belongs to spectral class F5, and it's approximately 506 light years distant. So next we'll be looking at Algol, the second brightest star, which is a subgiant star and has a distance of 89.92 light years. And it's also known as the demon star. Third, we'll be looking at Attic, which is the third brightest star. So Attic is this blue-white supergiant star, and it belongs to the spectral class B1, and it has a magnitude of 2.8 and is approximately 750 light years distance. And last, we'll be looking at the fourth brightest star, which is Epsilon Persei or Per. So with this star, it's composed of several other stars and has a visual magnitude of 2.88, and it's about 640 light years distance from the sun. And it is a supergiant star as well. For the next slide, we'll be talking about the deep sky objects for Perseus. So first, we're going to be looking at M34, the spiral cluster. Messier 34 is a open cluster with a visual magnitude of 5.5. It's about 1,500 light years distance. So it's between 200 and 250 million years old, and it contains about 400 stars. So the next one we'll be looking at is a little scorpion cluster, and it's a really open cluster, and it has less stars than the spiral cluster, so between 50 to 100 stars, so fairly less. And it's also fairly younger, with only being 450 million years old. So the next one we'll be looking at is a little dumbbell nebula. This deep sky object has a visual magnitude of 10.1, and it was originally assigned two catalog numbers because it was believed to consist of two different emission nebulae, but now it's just the one. And the last one we'll be looking at will be the double cluster. So this has the name is for two bright open clusters. So as you can see here, it's NGC 884 and 869. So they're respectively close to each other in space, and they're both relatively young as well. And for my last slide, we'll be talking about the mythology of Perseus and the story of how it became. So Perseus was a son of Danae, and he is most known for beheading Medusa. And how it came about was that Danae's father had a So the last slide is the mythology of Perseus. So Perseus' story is that his mother was a daughter to a king who had a oracle saying that his grandson would be the cause of his death. So the king decided to lock Danae away so that she was not able to get married and have children, but she fell in love with Zeus, who made himself a rain, and she became pregnant, which then her father found out and ended up locking her in a large wooden chest and sending her out to sea. She was rescued, and she was by a king's brother whose name was Deities, and the king came up with a plan to try to get Danae, and he needed to get Perseus out of the way, so he came up with a plan to have a gift be brought to him for his fake engagement, which was going to be horses. But Perseus was unable to do that because he was unable to afford horses or did not have horses. So he asked the king if there's anything else that he would be able to give him in place of this, and he said he would like the head of Medusa, and thinking this would be a murder mission for Perseus. But what he didn't know was that Perseus had ally with a lot of the gods who gave him gifts. Some of those gifts being a bronze shield, a sword of diamonds, a helmet that made him invisible, and winged sandals. With these gifts, he was able to defeat Medusa, and he was able to decapitate her and bring her head back to the kingdom. Once he made it back to Sephiros, he found that the king had been harassing his mother, and that Polydides was just not giving up on the fact that his mother did not want to be with him. So he confronted King Polydides and ended up using the head of Medusa to turn him and all his followers to stone. And after this, he appointed Deities as the king of Sephora, and then ended up going on to getting married to a princess who he rescued. And he had children with her, and most of their descendants ended up being great kings, the greatest of them being Hercules. So this is why Perseus is shown holding the head of Medusa in one hand and the jeweled sword in the other, which was that gift from the gods, and is that Medusa's head is represented by the star Agel. And here are my references, and thank you for watching.